by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Charleston's highs compared to average tell the story of the big changes we've seen recently with temperatures and more changes on the horizon. So it was hot through Saturday, much cooler Sunday and Monday, peaking this morning with a temperature falling below freezing. But by this afternoon, already back a bit on the warm side. Good 10 degrees above average Thursday and Friday, then we'll be below average with our 8 to 14 day outlook. So cooler conditions will return before too long. Same period leans near normal for precipitation. To maintain average, we need about an inch over a 7-day period, and this next 7-day stretch will hopefully bring the opportunity for widespread accumulation of around an inch or so with multiple waves of precipitation, the first of which is overnight and through the day on Wednesday. Scattered showers, some non-severe thunderstorms expected as we head through the day. We'll see this coming and going from the north. A low chance of lingering on Thursday. Fly CRW forecast, it starts at home. We do have a pretty nice stretch here for your travel plans. Not a lot of activity across the nation, and temperatures generally on the warming trend. For the Panhandle forecast, bottoming out around 55 from New Cumberland to Pine Grove. Highs here from about mid-60s to low 70s on Wednesday. Looking east, we'll see mid-40s towards Hedgesville tonight. Meanwhile, highs back in the low 70s in this part of the region as well on Wednesday. We'll see Pawpaw around 66. Parsons, Elkins, 50 tonight. Mid-50s looking west of there, and highs ranging from about 64 to 73. Ending looking south, we will see Lewisburg with some clearer conditions tonight, not quite seeing the rain, and as such staying on the cooler side. Then 74 for Charleston for our Wednesday. 82 Thursday and Friday. We'll have additional precipitation through the weekend.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
5, 3, 1.
Red 57, red 57, hot, hot.
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened-to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sports Line. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Sportsline for Tuesday. It's a game day for the Mountaineers, and what a big one. Home to the Pitt Panthers. The WVU baseball team will check in with Brad Howe in a second. I'm Kyle Wiggs. Greg Hunter is here. Greg, good evening.
Good evening, Kyle. How you doing?
Doing well. We're also going to check in on a big high school game today. Number 1 in AAA, Bridgeport, playing number 2 in 4A, Morgantown High. Joe Brocato's there. We'll check in with him. We didn't talk. We had a great conversation with Brody Kresser, which was a lot of fun last night.
Absolutely.
But it took the conversation. We drifted away from spring football just a couple of days after spring drills ended. So we're going to get into that heavy tonight, and we ask for your input, your questions coming out of spring football. 304 Talk 304. We're going to hear from Zac Alley. His thoughts following the spring game, and also from receiver John Neider. And we'll make time for your texts at 304 Talk 304. But first, let's head to the ballpark. And Brad is there. Hey, Brad, good evening.
Hey guys, how are we? Good evening.
All right, are you in the stadium?
No, we're still across the street at Buffalo Wild Wings. I can see the stadium, and we are walking that way as soon as we're done talking here.
Okay, so how did your event go?
Event was packed, and I think that's going to lead into, you were talking last night about how close you could get to the all-time attendance record. I don't know if you'll get there, but as I'm looking at the stadium now, the hillside down the left line is pretty filled up, and then the right side I can't see yet, but that left side, even up top there, is already starting to fill. There's people in the seats, so I think it's going to be a tremendous night over there.
Well, I was at the shopping plaza up there with a little list. I had to pick some stuff up. I'm not giving the store name. They're not paying us for advertisement. But at 3:30 when I went by, parking lots were already filling up pretty good. So if that's an indication, there's going to be a really big crowd at Kendrick Family Ballpark for the baseball version of the Backyard Brawl.
Agree with you. We started our event at 4, knowing usually people start to filter in, and it's closer to 4:30 when it really gets cranking. It was every bit of 4:15, and every table was filled up in here. So it was a tremendous crowd early here at Buffalo Wild Wings, and like I said, now they're everybody's making their way over to the stadium. Perfect weather night, guys. I mean, it's sunny. There's a light breeze. We'll get to how that might impact this game here in just a second. Light breeze, but it is beautiful. Great baseball weather tonight.
Very important game. Pitt has as good. It's not great, but Pitt has as good of an RPI as they have had in recent seasons. It's still not great, but they used to be down in triple digits. They're a little bit better. We've talked all year, Brad, about how well West Virginia's done in these midweek games, and they've swept them all so far. So there's no reason to think that won't continue tonight.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this. This is, as you mentioned, they're all critical, especially at this point in West Virginia, as we mentioned last night with all the different rating services. You're sniffing hosting again. You're right there. So all of these factor in. This is an interesting Pitt team. 24 wins on the season, just 7-11 in the ACC, which is a very good baseball league. But here's what I think is most interesting about them. They mash the ball, guys. I mean, they hit the heck out of the ball for average. They lead the country in walks. They're 8th nationally in home runs, averaging 2 per game. And as I'm looking right now, this is a no surprise if you've been up to this ballpark, Kendrick Family Ballpark, a breeze blowing out to left field here. So critical for West Virginia's pitchers to keep the ball down and away from these hitters and not let it get up in the jet stream going to left. That's what this team likes to do. Patient enough. How about that, Kyle? You're a big baseball guy. That's a pretty wild stat. You lead the country in walks, but you also mash like you do. So they get some pitchers that nibble and don't challenge maybe as often as you would, but they're patient enough to take the walk if they have to. So it's one of those. West Virginia can score as well. This is a pitching defense for Pitt that has a team ERA above 6. So I would think West Virginia can score as well. So if you can hold those bats in check, you should be in pretty good shape tonight.
Brad, 2 pieces of information discerned from the lineup that West Virginia has recently released. First of all, Gavin Kelly back in the lineup after missing the last 2 games, West Virginia's top offensive threat, back in his normal 2-hole, though, and going to play second base after missing a couple of games with a wrist injury. So that's good news. Also, David Hagan had been West Virginia's midweek starting pitcher. Not going to be tonight. Bryson Thacker, transfer from Tennessee, going to take over that. Don't know what Hagen's situation is, but you may have to move him into a weekend starting spot with Max Yale's injury, putting him in a questionable spot for at least a short period.
That's well done by you, Detective Hunter. I like how you're piecing those things together. I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's take the first one first. That's big news that Gavin's back in the lineup, right? And I'm not breaking news right there in terms of how important that is to this lineup to have him in there. But the fact that he's back that quickly and just missed this weekend, that's huge. We heard Steve Sabins talk about the key with him was, and he said it didn't look like it was anything long-term based on the MRIs he got, but that it was just his ability to squeeze the bat. So let's hope Gavin can get back in that lineup and pick up where he left off. He's such an important part of that group. And then I think you're right on the pitching side of things. How fast can you get Yale back in the lineup there? That's going to be critical, but I think you make some very valid points there in your analysis.
Well, again, you're not in the stadium yet, so no real feel for the crowd, but I think it's going to be close tonight, Brad. I think it's going to be close to a record.
It's I would not argue with you, Kyle. Again, as I'm walking that way right now, and I can see a good chunk of the stadium. It is going to be packed out there.
Very good. Well, enjoy it. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you later in the week.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll talk to you then.
Very good. Brad Howe, they're headed for the West Virginia Pitt matchup, and we're about a little over 15 minutes away from first pitch.
Yeah, you know a little bit about Thacker. He's a name that hasn't appeared a whole lot in games for West Virginia at this point, just 8 2/3 innings to this juncture. But he's a guy, transfer from Tennessee, and you say he can hum it.
Yeah, he's a hard-throwing guy. from Rome, Georgia, was a huge strikeout guy in high school, 366 strikeouts in 170 innings, and obviously one of the best baseball states in the country in Georgia, and he was a tremendous player in that state. Started at Tennessee, didn't get much of a chance, was on a team that won a national championship, but again, didn't pitch much at all. Transferred to West Virginia, and now getting a big opportunity. Man, there's not much of a bigger stage than making your first start against the Pitt Panthers.
Boy, is that not true. So he's still a big strikeout guy in college. Like I said, just 8 2/3 so far at West Virginia, but he's got 13 strikeouts. Negative side of things, he also has 9 walks.
Yeah.
So his ability to, can keep Panthers off the bases via the free pass is key. And as Brad said, Pitt is a team that loves to take walks.
Mm-hmm. He's been in games. This will be his 13th appearance, his first start. He's pitched 8 2/3 innings, and again, the strikeouts are there. 13 strikeouts and 8 2/3 innings, but the 9 walks, obviously way, way, way too many. So we'll see if this is a 1-inning deal, a 2-inning deal. Hagan was, a shorter inning guy during his midweek starts. We'll see what the situation is with Bryson Thacker, who makes the start tonight for West Virginia against Pitt. Big high school baseball game, North Central West Virginia, AAA number 1 Bridgeport against 4A number 2 Morgantown. Joe Brocato is there. And Joe, good evening.
Hey, good evening, guys.
What do we have? What's transpired so far?
We have a game that is motoring right along, top of the 5th, and Bridgeport leads Morgantown 3-1. Morgantown jumped out to an early lead in this one in the second inning when Kane Williams came home to score on a wild pitch. Bridgeport answered back with 3 runs in the bottom half of the third inning. Sacrifice fly off the bat of Owen Sondricker scored 1 run, and then a 2-run triple from Ohio University commit Kason Bond allowed Bridgeport to take their first lead of the game. Both pitchers motoring along for both teams in this one. Grayson Campbell from Morgantown started off very well before running into trouble in the third inning. And Aiden Dunn is through 4 2/3 innings for Bridgeport and has allowed just the 1 run.
So a 3-1 game.
Yeah, and while we've got a ways to go, not a long ways to go, but a ways to go before we start to get into tournament time, these type of games I got to think are going to give us a great indication of what the ultimate expectation for both those clubs will be.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, I think both of these teams, obviously Morgantown getting to the state championship game and falling just short against Hurricane, their team that is obviously built to get back to the state level once again. And it's been a couple of years since Bridgeport has played in the state tournament, but I think Robert Shields has a great deal of confidence that this can be the team for the Indians that can get back to the state level for the first time since 2022. And, games like this are certainly good measuring sticks as they're going to face each other a couple weeks from now up at Milan Park as well. But, these are the kind of games that you want your team to be tested by throughout the course of the regular season to get ready for postseason play.
We know, Joe, what Morgantown has pitching depth with Maddox Boggs and Slade Barton, 1 and 1A basically, and they got their number 3 guy going today. What about Bridgeport? How does their pitching stack up this year?
Yeah, this is the second time I've seen Aiden Dunn, and he's probably one of the guys that's, at the top of the list for Bridgeport. I'm sure that, Robert Shields has a number of different guys that he feels comfortable going with, but Dunn is throwing very well. As I said, he's through 4 2/3 so far, allowing just the 1 run, and I know that there may not be one frontline starter or one obvious number 1 pitcher for the Indians this year, but they have a great deal of depth, no question about it.
You said 2022 since the Bridgeport last won its state championship. It feels like it was just yesterday.
Well, they won 7 in a row.
Yeah, I said they had a string like nobody. So, I mean, that's a program certainly under Bobby Shield that's used to winning. Maybe the latest version of the Indians haven't tasted that, but their coach definitely has.
Hey, no question about it. And my current vantage behind home plate, looking out to left center field, you can see all of the state championship banners that Robert Shields has been a part of. And you mentioned that great run of 7 consecutive titles. The only thing that interrupted that was the COVID year in 2020. Now, they did last make it to the state tournament in 2022, and there were eliminated in that great extra inning semifinal game against Hurricane. But, the last 3 years they've fallen short of getting to the state tournament. But I absolutely think that this is a team that has every expectation not only of making it to the state tournament, but hanging around for a while in Huntington this year.
Well, it's expanded. I mean, there's 8 teams in each class. So Bridgeport will be there among the 8 teams. It's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, no question about it. And, you look at how the state tournament setup is going to be significantly different. AAA is one of the classes that teams are going to have a great deal of pitching depth because as it stands now, the quarterfinal games are set to be played on Tuesday, semifinals on Friday, and then the championship on Saturday. So much like Quad A, these teams are going to be requiring a great deal of pitching depth to make a great run.
And they have inning limits, right? Once you get to the state tournament?
Yeah, there's pitch count.
Yeah, pitch count throughout the season, and that remains the same going into postseason play.
All right, Joe, thanks. We appreciate it. 3-1 Bridgeport, still the 5th inning, right?
Yep, Morgantown runner on and 2 out in the top half of the 5th.
Very good. Thanks. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Joe Brocato there at Bridgeport. Yeah, Bridgeport had that streak of 7 in a row, and the last one was AAA.
Yeah.
And that's before expansion. Now you've got 4 classes, and they are still in AAA, but the biggest schools are in 4A. So, it was a great run for Bridgeport, and it has been odd the last couple of years to have a state baseball tournament without Bridgeport. But this year, 8 teams in each class.
Yeah.
And Joe talked about the schedule. It actually starts on a Saturday with 4 single-A quarterfinal round games. They take Sunday off. Monday will be the 4 double-A quarterfinal round games. Tuesday will be the triple-A quarterfinal round games. Wednesday will be the 4A quarterfinal round games. Then semifinals in A and double-A Thursday. Semifinals in 3A and 4A Friday, and all 4 state championship games Saturday. So it's stretched out over 8 days, and that's if there's no weather.
What are the odds in West Virginia?
Yeah, exactly. In June, early June.
I think I know somebody who's going to be down there calling those games.
We'll be there.
They're going to be pretty busy.
We'll be there. I think we're going to do. That's a ton of games. I think we might do split crews this year. We might have a group go down for the Saturday, and then the day off and the Monday, maybe a local crew down there. Saturday and Monday, maybe Tuesday, and then the Morgantown contingent goes down on Wednesday. We'll see. We haven't talked all the way through that, but that's likely how that's going to work this year for state baseball. And softball's expanded too. Mm-hmm. They've got 4 classes, 8 teams in each class, and they're going double elimination.
So that is a ton of games.
That's a ton of games, and those are split up. There's a tournament with 2 classes, and then a break, and then a tournament with 2 classes.
So from all my days of running tournaments, I can quickly figure out the number. Do you want to know the number?
What's the number?
Total could be as many if it goes to as needed games, 60.
And that's in all 4 classes?
Yes.
So 60 games over a period of 6 days with a break in between. That's a lot. That's a lot of games. All right, spring football talk, 304 Talk 304. Your texts, your questions for Greg. We'll hear from defensive coordinator Zac Alley, from receiver John Neider when we return on the Sportsline.
Worried about paying for college? MetroNews is proud to present the 19th annual West Virginia Scholar Program, where one high school junior in West Virginia will win a full scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College, including room, board, tuition, and fees. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com and click the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd. The 2026 West Virginia Scholar Program, presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to WVMetroNews.com and apply today by May 3rd.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps. And never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
By the way, I'm really happy to talk about this as opposed to Ryan's opinion that being a sports fan is a bad thing.
He said that it kept him from being stressed about it, not that it was a bad thing, that they didn't have the stress. And, I mean, I've seen you pace.
Yeah, you're only 30 and you look like that.
So true.
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on MetroNews Television.
Sportsline comments post-spring practice from Zac Alley coming up. Greg, we've got another player out of the portal for the WVU women's basketball team.
Boy, they've made hay during the portal period. Portal period closes tomorrow. In terms of players who can go in, you can come out anytime.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, if you're sort of tracking things, anybody who exits has to do so by tomorrow. But in terms of West Virginia's women's program, they've done really, really well in adding to their roster. Mark Kellogg gets another one, and from the same program, he got one earlier, and both of them look very good. George Mason had a 20-win team this past year, and West Virginia has now gotten transfers from George Mason's top two scorers. A couple of weeks ago, it was Zaza Walton, maybe not even that long ago, who averaged 18 points at George Mason, and now her fellow former junior, Kennedy Harris, is joining her at West Virginia. She's announced 14 points per game, the best three-point shooter at George Mason this past year, making 57 of 176, so 32.4% from three-point range. And both those players are seniors to be, but both come to West Virginia first team All-Atlantic 10 honors. And Walton is a native of the state of Washington. Kennedy Harris, much closer, Hampton, Virginia. So Norfolk, Hampton area.
All right, so the women getting more help out of the portal. WVU defensive coordinator Zac Alley post-spring game. Let's get to his comments. First up was Zac Alley, his thoughts overall, out of the spring game in particular and the spring overall.
The spring game's obviously fun because you get to see guys play and, go out there and compete a little bit, see who can make plays, who can't, who can make tackles when it's live fire, and hopefully a little bit of pressure, that you can't, that you can feel in the stadium and the environment, day in and day out. So I do feel like, as a group, we've made a lot of strides since they got here in January. We had a lot to learn, a lot of guys learning how to play, how to practice, how to be at this level, developing leadership and competitive depth. All of those things are important. And we're on the process of doing that. And, the nice part of this year is you don't lose half your team here in about 3 weeks. So hopefully the development, those things that have happened from, January to now will translate as we move into summer and fall camp too.
Yeah, let's continue on with that thought. Zac Alley talked about knowing exactly who you will have. There's no spring transfer portal for football, so you know from this point who you will have all summer and into fall camp.
Like I said, just maintaining the guys that are on the roster makes you feel a lot better at what you can do well and what you can't do well. I think that last year, I think there was another new 41 players or something in the summer. I mean, so you were building your team again and fall camp, trying to figure out who could do what everybody was good at, what roles you wanted them to play, how you were going to use them. And so I think there's a lot more continuity, leaving spring ball this year with just some understanding of who we have and how we're going to try and use them in the defense.
And, Brad talked a little bit about it last night, and you certainly look at it from the coach's side of things, and it's a huge plus that there's stability and they know who they're dealing with. But from the player side of things as well, you also know exactly what you're doing in terms of you can look around, where do I stand on this team? How much playing time can I get? Because there are not going to be other players coming in that are going to move over top of you on the depth chart. You've got what you got on both sides of things. And I think there's a comfort level for both sides in terms of players and coaches. And you still have the winter portal period that allows those that want to move, but slows down a little bit of this, just the chaos we've seen in the past.
And all the coaches talked about making things simple in terms of the scheme in order to evaluate players. That was the most important thing this spring, and Zac Alley says that worked. He and the staff, they were able to evaluate all the players this spring.
I think you're always, at least as a play caller, you're always trying to figure out where do you put the stress. There's always stress on somebody. And the more you can put stress on the good players and the better players, generally the better you're going to play. So I do feel that, we have a lot of guys where I know where I can put stress on them and I know what they can do right now. And, I think we've improved a lot, just the continuity of the play calls, the continuity of the guys, and it's a little thing, but just having a guy like a Ben Cutter back and a Nick Taylor, guys who've played in the system, well, that helps everybody because they're confident, and they know what to say and how to call things out, and they know how to get the other guys lined up, and so that even though there was a decent turnover on the roster, it wasn't everybody's new and trying to learn. It was okay, hey, this portion of guys is new, but then when they're in the meeting room and I'm not in there, when they're sitting on this and they're in there by themselves, well, Ben Cutter can go, hey, no, this is why you should play it like this, because he's been in the system. And so I think there's some carryover that just happens by having guys back who've been around that do well, that help, encourage everybody who's new. And so I feel like there's been a lot of learning and growth and development, particularly the last about 5 practices.
So, again, development continuing. It was a good spring for evaluation.
Yeah, and an opportunity. And like I said, they've got a few guys, not only Nick Taylor and Ben Cutter, but a couple up front, and Nate Gabriel and Corey McIntyre, also Keyshawn Robinson on the back end, guys who've played and have been in the system for over a year now, where, this point last year you didn't have everybody. And then the other good thing about the no, transfer portal in the spring and keeping what you got, West Virginia had almost 40 new players come in the summer last year, so they didn't even have a spring practice under their belt to learn the system. There's a lot of turnover still and a lot of new, faces on this year's team, but a vast majority of them will at least have gone through a spring practice with West Virginia and have an idea what they're doing, at least much more so than last year.
You mentioned Keyshawn Robinson, in-state product. Did he move up to the top of the depth chart?
I think he's definitely going to fight for it. He's been a really good special teams player in his first 2 years at West Virginia. And over the course of last year, started to get more and more run with the defense, and mainly at safety as the year went along. But he's a natural corner.
Yeah.
And he was more at corner throughout the spring. And I think he's very much in fight for a spot in the rotation at corner, whether it's starter or a guy who plays a lot there. He is very much in contention for that playing time.
All right. He also mentioned in that last cut Ben Cutter, who is a solid veteran returning linebacker in the middle of that linebacker core at the Mike position. What about the linebacker position overall?
I think we're pretty deep. I mean, we roll out there about 6 guys who can help us win right now, particularly, both inside and at nickel. I mean, I think our nickel room's really good. We're going to use them a lot of different ways and help those guys be successful. And I feel confident in the guys we have in the room. We're still growing and developing leadership, vocal leadership, and, holding guys accountable and trying to bring the level of the team up with us. That's always the challenge. It's the same as the quarterback on offense. By default, you play linebacker, you're in a leadership role. And if it's not right, it's on you. It's not on anybody else. And so I think the guys like that. I think they accept that challenge. I recruited them like that. They should know that was what was going to happen, coming in here. But I think that they've done a good job of stepping up to the plate. And, even some of our newer or younger guys who are in here, because they see how the older guys act, they're trying to emulate that and have that same style of, accountability out there on the field.
Athleticism point.
I do. I think we've got a lot of guys that help us make plays. Some guys have made really, really major strides. Cam Torber has come along. He didn't play linebacker till last year, so there was a lot of learning to do. But he's had a great spring and really excelled and showed out. And same thing with, Malachi Hood, Isaiah Patterson, and Tyler Stolsky, all those new guys. Cuts as consistent as ever. And then I'm excited to get, Ashton Woods back off the injury because I think he'll be able to help us too.
All right, so he mentioned 6. So you got Cutter, Stolsky, Patterson, who he mentioned, Malachi Hood, who's in the mix to start, and Ashton Woods coming off the injury.
Yeah, he had a bad shoulder injury at BYU midway through last season and had to have an operation and get that repaired. So he was not able to practice in the spring, but he's a guy that transferred from North Carolina over a year ago that they think has a really good future. And the Torber he mentioned is very interesting. Cam Torber he's got a great pedigree. Dad played in the NFL. He's a native of Alabama, but he spent most of his youth as a basketball guy. But just early in his junior year, football coach talked him into playing some football. So first time in his life, he goes out there, and they used him mainly just as a pass rush defensive end and didn't play a whole lot as a junior. By his senior year, he's dominant and is a first-team All-Alabama high school player. And starts getting offers, and West Virginia views him as a long linebacker who, with his dad's DNA, they feel that eventually. Now, again, maybe he needs another year to develop. Maybe it's not this year, but he's got that we haven't talked a whole lot about. Certainly worth keeping an eye on.
Pass rushing. That's the next comment from Zac Alley, WVU defensive coordinator. He was asked about the pass rush, and do you have guys on this team who can just go flat out get the quarterback?
I think we've got a couple of them. I think that we're still trying to make strides there. Obviously, we didn't get the turnover at the edges, position, and I think we lost 6 guys or 7 guys that were. We had like 5 seniors in there last year. Just makes it for learning and developing that same type of style too. I think there's a knack to knowing both how to pass rush one-on-one, and then today we had a couple where like we came inside and you can't come inside, and then now he scrambles out. So a couple missed sacks and things like that were just understanding rush lanes and where to be. But I think we've got quite a few guys that can go, and hopefully we'll be able to keep helping them by how we scheme things up too.
Something that has to improve.
Yeah. West Virginia wasn't good enough there last year. There were moments, but not good enough. And unfortunately, probably the biggest, and I'm not going to say the only one that they really would have liked to have had coming back, Curtis Jones would have been one of those guys this year, but he transfers to Virginia Tech. And so West Virginia out there. And they've got some guys that have played at the Division I level that they've brought in at those positions that they think can help them. But they've got to prove it.
What about the much ballyhooed Matt Sieg and what Zac Alley saw from him at the safety position this spring?
Yeah, I think Matt's done a great job. Everything you could expect of a freshman, coming into a new system and all that. He's got all the athletic ability in the world, and he's been running really well, and I think he's very smart, so he plays smart. He's very football savvy. He's just a natural kid out there. Like, he understands where the ball is, the angles to take, and then he's got great ball skills and all that. So selfishly, I don't really want him to go to offense, but if it helps the team, I'm all for whatever it is. Not overly. I mean, we're very organized in what we do. So, hey, this period we want for these plays, whatever it is. So we make sure we get him the reps he needs. But, he's primarily on my side, so I kind of get first default depending on what's going on.
Yeah, so no offense in the spring?
Not yet, no. And I mean, eventually. I mean, that's a cool story for us media guys, right? You got to ask that. It was Rodney Gallagher a couple of years ago. And Rodney ended up seeing some two-way duty, and Matt Siegel continued to get that as well. But through the spring, he was a safety. And, I mean, that's going to be his primary role for West Virginia because he's a guy who's going to push to start. I don't know if he does, but I think he's got a great opportunity to do so as a true freshman. That's unique in itself. Now, then trying to throw him in and get him acclimated with a couple of offensive plays, maybe that'll take a year or two. We'll see. Maybe they try it next fall, but safety is his primary role.
One more from Zac Alley, and about the group of individuals he has as people. He likes being around these guys.
I think that there's a good group of guys. I think that's one thing I'd say about our players this year, man. I have a lot of respect for who they are. I think the character of the individuals is really special. We've got a lot of guys who are bought into who we are and what we're doing. They're compelled to be here and, committed to the program. And I really, it's encouraging to see that because when you walk by the meeting rooms and now there's 5-6 guys in there on a regular basis, that understanding is coming along because they want to be in here. They want to be, better every single day. We finished practice and, Jameer Latimer and Andrew Powdrell beat me in the room. They're going to be up there watching film before I've even gotten up top, and that's that way they play well because they understand what's coming, and they have an understanding of the stress of the calls. So I think from that standpoint, our guys have really, stepped up, and I've been very pleased with the people that are in the building.
Neider defensive coordinator Zac Alley. We invite your text, 304-TALK-304. We'll take a break. We'll hear from John Neider, receiver. The game is underway, and Bryson Thacker, 12 pitches to get the first 2 outs. A couple of fly ball outs. Had a 2-2 count on the leadoff hitter after a couple of foul balls. He got a fly ball to right that Armani Guzman handled. Went 3 balls on the second hitter and got him to pop up behind second base. Guzman's back and right. Kresser's at first, and Kelly back in the lineup's playing second. So Gavin Kelly handled that pop up behind second base. So 2 outs. And an 0-2 count, now a 1-2 count on the 3 hitter, and Bryson Thacker looking for a 1-2-3 top half of the first inning in the West Virginia Pitt matchup. We'll take a break. We've got more coming up on the CityNet statewide sports line. Businesses across West Virginia rely on CityNet for secure, high-performing networks and advanced cybersecurity solutions built, owned, and supported right here at home. Visit citynet.net. Remember, CityNet connects, protects, and perfects.
Running a small business means wearing a lot of hats, and dealing with tech problems shouldn't be one of them. CityNet helps West Virginia businesses keep their technology running smoothly, from networks and computers to backup, security, and day-to-day support. Whether you don't have IT staff or you have a small team that could use extra help, CityNet can take care of the technology or work alongside your team to fill in the gaps. With proactive monitoring, fast local support, and solutions built on CityNet's fiber network, your business stays productive instead of reactive. Call us at 1-844-CityNet to get started.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Charleston's highs compared to average tell the story of the big changes we've seen recently with temperatures and more changes on the horizon. So it was hot through Saturday, much cooler Sunday and Monday, peaking this morning with a temperature falling below freezing. But by this afternoon, already back a bit on the warm side. Good 10 degrees above average Thursday and Friday, then we'll be below average with our 8 to 14 day outlook. So cooler conditions will return before too long. Same period leans near normal for precipitation. To maintain average, we need about an inch over a 7-day period, and this next 7-day stretch will hopefully bring the opportunity for widespread accumulation of around an inch or so with multiple waves of precipitation, the first of which is overnight and through the day on Wednesday. Scattered showers, some non-severe thunderstorms expected as we head through the day. We'll see this coming and going from the north, a low chance of lingering on Thursday. Fly CRW forecast, it starts at home. We do have a pretty nice stretch here for your travel plans. Not a lot of activity across the nation and temperatures generally on the warming trend. For the Panhandle forecast, bottoming out around 55 from New Cumberland to Pine Grove. Highs here from about mid-60s to low 70s on Wednesday. Looking east, we'll see mid-40s towards Hedgesville tonight. Meanwhile, highs back in the low 70s in this part of the region as well on Wednesday. We'll see Pawpaw around 66. Parsons, Elkins, 50 tonight. Mid-50s looking west of there, and highs ranging from about 64 to 73. Ending looking south, we will see Lewisburg with some clearer conditions tonight, not quite seeing the rain, and as such staying on the cooler side. Then 74 for Charleston for our Wednesday. 82 Thursday and Friday. We'll have additional precipitation through the weekend.
CityNet statewide Sportsline for this Tuesday. Thanks for joining us, Kyle and Greg. Pitt got a home run. We had Brad on and talked about the thing that Pitt does best is hit the ball out of the ballpark. They did it for the 78th time. Their number 3 hitter, Lorenzo Carrier, his 15th home run of the year, and it was a bomb. Nearly hit the ticket building out in left center field. It was more of a moonshot. It had a lot of hang time. So 1-0 Pitt. Thacker gave up a second hit in the inning, got out of it. So 1-0 Pitt. Mountaineers coming to bat, bottom of the first. All right, continuing on with the spring football talk. Receiver John Neider, an interesting story. We'll let him talk, and then, Greg, you can kind of fill in the blanks, but he's a Connecticut transfer that walked on there, I believe, at a different position.
Well, he was a high school quarterback coming through, and he's from the state of Connecticut. Came through as a high school quarterback, very good, player of the year in the state of Connecticut. Walked on, but when he got there, he said, he says he told me he wanted to be a receiver. Did they tell him he should be a receiver? Whatever. He transitions to receiver when he got to UConn. Took him a year or two, but last year became a really big part of their offense.
All right, John Neider on his path to West Virginia.
So obviously there's a big coaching change going on at UConn. And in the world of college football today, there's a lot of uncertainty. So I didn't want to roll the dice with someone I didn't really know. So I put my name out there. And West Virginia is one of the first schools to reach out to me. And I took notice of that. And they were very kind, very compassionate to me. And I liked what they were offering. So I came here.
You had a teammate that came from Connecticut as well. Does that make the decision easier that you didn't come here without knowing anybody?
Actually, yeah. The funny story is I didn't even know he was on a visit here until I got here. I walked in the cafeteria, and he was sitting down eating. I was like, what are you doing here? He said the same thing to me, but that was kind of funny. When we both committed, it was just nice knowing there's someone else here with me.
And that someone else is Karsten Cassidy, offensive lineman who's pushing for a starting left tackle job. So both those former Huskies, opportunities to make noise at West Virginia.
John Neider talked about stepping up to the Power 4 conference level.
It's the same thing everywhere. Some people say it's different levels. There's levels to it, but I've been doubting my whole life, even since I was younger. and I just continue to prove people wrong. So there are levels to it, but I'm going to keep raising my game to every single level.
Coming in with confidence.
Yeah, and certainly, a few minutes or hour or so before that interview, he had a really nice touchdown catch in the spring festival scrimmage portion of the festival. So, I mean, he's a guy who, again, is going to be a major factor in West Virginia's receiving reform rotation.
And, again, the spring for him, learning the offense and just continuing to develop at a fairly new position, wide receiver.
I thought I had a really good spring. I kept developing. I want to continue developing. I think I had an all right day today. Obviously, I always want better for myself. I want to keep pushing myself to be better. But I think overall, everyone also had a really good spring. We're all developing.
High school quarterback, right? So, the switch to wide receiver, how difficult was that? What's your progress been in that regard?
I played quarterback in high school, and when I walked on at UConn, I kind of told them I want to play receiver. I think I had the best shot at receiver. So I started out receiver first year, lots of developing, lots of learning, and I'm still on that path of developing and learning. I still want to learn as much as I can, develop as much as I can, because I had a late start compared to everyone else. So I think it's also a good thing for me because I got to pay extra attention to the little details to continue to develop.
He's got a little bit of size to him, 6'2", 195-ish. So he's got a little size, mainly an outside receiver, but also can play some slot as well. So again, he shows that he can definitely be a factor as they try to build depth in that receiving core.
Well, that was his next comment, learning to play the different wide receiver positions. That's been a priority for him this spring.
It's something I'm very comfortable with. At UConn, they moved me around a little bit in the slot, in the backfield, out wide. So I'm definitely comfortable with it, and wherever they put me, I'm going to learn that position and give my best.
Development going from quarterback to receiver. Where do you feel you've made that biggest jump in your receiving game?
That's a good question. I would say from year one to year two, because year one I was really overloaded with all this information. I didn't know how to put it onto the field. And when I got out there for year two, that's kind of when things started clicking. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this, or this is why they say do that. So I think when I got to that year two, everything kind of clicked. And after that, I'm just smooth sailing.
Sailing along.
Yep.
So, and, good interview was Neider and showed really well in the scrimmage. And going to be interesting to follow his path. I mean, Prince Strawn, Jaden Bray, DJ Epps. You look at those guys, sort of the top of the depth chart, probably at the receiver position. But there's plenty of room for others. Whether it's a Taryn Francis or a John Neider or whomever, they want 7 or 8, and it certainly looks like Neider is going to be one of those.
One more shortcut from John Neider, and he talked about having maybe a slight advantage, being able to play wide receiver and still think like a quarterback.
I still got that quarterback mindset a little bit. It helps me read coverages or help me understand what the quarterback's thinking. I keep that in the back of my mind a lot. But at the same time, I got to be a receiver out there. I got to play the game like a receiver. So there's a little bit of QB going on in the back of my head to help me out, but majority of the time I'm in that wide receiver mode.
All right, so quarterback in high school, receiver for the Mountaineers, John Neider. We invite your spring football inquiries. If you have anything for Greg here, the final few minutes of the program, 304-TALK-304. It is the CityNet statewide sports line. We're in the Health Plan studios. Since 1979, the Health Plan has called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses, proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years. The Health Plan.
We are there for you, to care for you at the Health Plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The Health Plan. We are here for you.
Diabetes is the most common endocrine disease in the U.S., and WVU Medicine endocrinologists offer comprehensive care for this chronic disease. We also treat parathyroid, pituitary, thyroid, reproductive, and adrenal gland conditions. Trust WVU Medicine's fellowship-trained and board-certified endocrinologists to provide world-class care for all endocrine disorders. Call 855-WVU-CARE or visit wvumedicine.org/endocrinology.
This boating season, elevate your family time with Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Proudly family owned for over 40 years, Lou and his sons are West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer. Trusted experts in premium boats, motors, and service. Discover refined comfort, elegant design, and performance you can feel. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of preseason savings. At Lou Wendell Marine Sales, they don't just sell boats, they sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com because the weekend's almost here.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
What do you know about hot dogs? Because we've been all about hot dogs this week.
I love hot dogs, and I love them with Miracle Whip.
Oh, God, I forgot. Never mind. I forgot
and
about
onions.
this. Okay.
I actually, yesterday morning, I had a hot dog for breakfast at 6:45 with onions and Miracle Whip.
And with that, we'll be back right after this.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
Final few minutes on the sports line. 1-0 Pitt leading West Virginia. Pitt hitting in the top half of the second. J.J. Weatherholt led off the game for the Cardinals and doubled. He came around to score his 18th run of the year. He's in the top 10 in the National League in runs scored with 18. And he's also, Greg, been hit by a pitch in 5 consecutive games, which is a new Cardinals record. Broke the record of John Jay, who's currently on the Cardinals coaching staff. But that streak is, he got hit last night, so it's 5. I don't know what the major league record is, but JJ's been hit by a pitch 5 consecutive games, and he leads the majors with a total of 6 hit by pitch.
Certainly noteworthy, but is that a record you want to break?
Get on base, man.
Yeah, any way you can.
As long as they all wear body armor now.
No, that's true.
I mean, a couple of times they've tried to get it. A bunch of times he's been hit. Of course, I watch every inning of every game. A couple of times he's been hit with 2 strikes when they try to drop a breaking ball inside, and he's been hit on the foot like 3 times. So on the back foot at least twice. On the front foot probably 2 more times. So there's another home run for Pitt.
Anyway, oh boy, that power the Panthers have had all year showing up at Kendrick Family Ballpark.
Yeah, 2 solo shots, one in the first, one in the second. Bryson Thacker on the mound for the Mountaineers, and Pitt now with a 2-0 lead in the second. Miami's tied the Cardinals, so that's a 1-1 game in the bottom half of the first. You want to stay on the air and do like a baseball game
sure.
night?
Yeah. You just run through everything, pros, college.
Fred does it every Friday night.
Absolutely.
Game night. We'll do a baseball game night.
We can get back a hold of Brad and have him give us a few reports from over at the ballpark.
A couple of quick texts. 304 Talk 304. Carolina Panthers fan pointing out that Will Greer has re-signed with the Carolina Panthers. So he's in that quarterback room along with Kenny Pickett. And, of course, the starter there, Bryce Young.
Yeah, a team that he was drafted by in the third round back in 2019. Spent a couple of years there. Has bounced around since. This is the 8th different move. Now, he's been to a couple of teams like Carolina multiple times, also Dallas a couple of times, but he keeps finding a spot. I've said before, when he was here, I thought he was a pro quarterback.
Yeah.
And he keeps getting paid, but he's never had the opportunity to be a starter, and that surprises me.
Texter says, living among Hokie fans, I'm hoping the skydiver was a good omen for another bad season. Boy, that was scary.
Yeah.
Skydiver came in for the spring game, hit the scoreboard, got stuck on the scoreboard.
Thank goodness he was okay.
Yeah. They hit it hard enough to break out a couple of the lights on the scoreboard, the letters. But, yeah, he was okay. Delayed the game for a long time.
It makes you think when you try to do those special events prior, be careful.
Yeah, check the wind before you try to skydive into the stadium. All right, Coach, thanks. We'll do it again tomorrow.
See you then.
That's the Sportsline for this Tuesday. Thanks for joining.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.